Hi, Nate Dogg. Feel free to take a month off and don't offer any sort of explanation or upload any video letting us know where you are. Just disappear for a while. Whatever. Sorry guys, I know I completely lack consistency of any kind, and I know that that's probably the one trait that successful YouTube channels all have in common, is that they upload consistency. But without going on too much of a spiel, I'll simply say that this YouTube channel is not at the top of my priority list, and that's just how it is. And I'm sure that any of you out there who are mature enough to understand already understand, and you already know what I'm talking about. So we're gonna move on. And I'm not necessarily the kind of person to not talk about the gameplay. I am going to talk about this game. I find it sort of annoying many times when people choose not to talk about the gameplay, and this is sort of an exception on my end, but I feel like there's a lot of stuff to talk about right now with regards to Battlefield 3 and a little bit to do with other games. I'm not going to talk about other games in this commentary. I'm going to focus on Battlefield 3, but there's a lot of stuff to talk about. And so the initial portion of this gameplay is going to be me talking about other things, and then the concluding portion is going to be me talking about the gameplay again. And I know what you're thinking. I'm all like, I done got 200 subscribers, I ain't never talking about the gameplay ever again. And it seems fairly conspicuous that I'm joking. However, as I've just mentioned, it is just not like that. And I think the worst thing I could do at this point in time is release a Close Quarters trailer breakdown video and over-speculate and break everything down frame by frame and make all sorts of assumptions and assertions about things that aren't actually in the trailer, just trying to sound cool. I think there's enough of that going on already. But if you do want a channel breakdown, there's another channel called SHuSTYBANG. Hope I said that right. They do an honest breakdown. They don't BS you at all. I'll leave a link to that in the description if that's really something that you are genuinely interested in. And also because I have to shout out to my fellow console gamers on PS3. They are on PS3, so I feel sort of not obligated, but I want the consoles to become legitimate in the Battlefield community, because they are not really right now. First off, in the discussion of things today with regards to Battlefield 3, there have been so many tears shed in the last week. People crying all over the world about the announcement of Close Quarters and things like that. And I think if I was to guess as to what the top comments might be, and this is not verbatim exactly what they say, but I think they would sound something like Dice, why you sell out to COD? Or, where's the patch? Well, the patch is exactly 1 or 2 weeks away, depending on what system you're on. Or, excuse me, depending on how far along in the certification process it is. It's either 1 or 2 weeks away. If you're on Xbox, the releasing of the patch will vary by platform. I'm assuming PC will actually get it first. But it's actually in the certification process. It's just that DICE hasn't made a big to-do about it. And so a lot of people are still saying, where's the patch, guys? Where's the patch? And it's actually on the way. Just give Microsoft a week or two with it, and we'll have it. But I'll talk more about the patch here in a minute. Right now I need to discuss Close Quarters is being so poorly received. And I'm not going to necessarily argue or tell you that you're wrong, but here is what my thinking is. The biggest complaint is that Close Quarters is not a Battlefield map set due to the lack of vehicles and the lack of Russian conquest, which I can kind of see that as being a legitimate complaint. However, why this map pack is a good thing is that, okay, the most played maps are Metro and Grand Bazaar. Many of the private servers on PC run it a lot, run both of those maps quite a lot. It is the most played. Second reason is that Conquest on consoles can be a little bit boring, and by a little bit, I know in my last video I mentioned, you may not be familiar with it, I put up 2 scores at the conclusion of Conquest on Caspian Border on consoles, and I got MVP in both games. The problem is, I got 5 kills, 0 deaths, and 4 kills, 0 deaths, from a full-length 10-minute gameplay, and the other team just sat in their spawn the entire game, with the exception of the few kills that I got, and it's honestly just not fun. The other team will they'll leave the spawn one time, and if they're unsuccessful in taking objectives, they'll either leave the game or just sit in their deployment until the game ends. Now, say you're a DICE employee reviewing this information. Would you conclude that there isn't enough action on the bigger maps for some players? Well, I think I would. possible solution might be to make maps where there's actually a lot of killing going on per amount of time, per second, per minute, however you want to calculate it. Why doesn't this make sense? I want to say, actually, DICE, please do make close quarters maps so I don't have to search for Operation Metro every time I actually want to kill people. The biggest problem I could potentially see with the close quarters map pack is, okay, I can concede to you guys on this point if you make this point. And speaking specifically, I'm going to talk about there is such a thing as too much destruction. And by too much destruction, I mean specifically Bad Company 2, Valparaiso, Rush Game Type, on the third objective set, everything but the Earth is destructible. Everything is destructible. Alpha objective is armed right now. I can't go get that. There's like 6 snipers gonna be shooting me if I try to go disarm Alpha. There's no way. There's too much destruction here. There's just too much. The only thing that good came out of this clip is that Bush Monster doing a barrel roll and hitting a chain link fence, okay? And alright, I'm not necessarily saying that this isn't some kind of submission to the COD fanboys, but I think we all need to calm down just a little bit and wait and see what these maps are all about before we jump to conclusions a little bit. Yes, I know, I'm not saying your complaints aren't legitimate, I'm simply saying, give it a chance. I played Call of Duty 4 through Call of Duty Black Ops, and I literally gave up on that series on Modern Warfare 3, so I'll tell you what it looks like when a game goes to crap and sells out, okay? I know what that looks like, so don't you worry, Battlefield guys. I got you covered. It is not showing the same signs, so we can all just calm down a little bit. And if nothing else, you don't actually have to pay for it. You don't even have to buy it or download it. You can completely bypass and avoid the maps altogether. And it seems like if there is a redeeming quality of the close quarters maps, it is that you don't have to pay for them or play them at all. So quit your crying. Now we're going to move on to the patch, which I am really looking forward to. And some of the top things I'm looking forward to. Okay, I was going to make an entire video about the most significant things that are going to happen in the patch, but I decided not to. I decided it was not really worth my time. There was a lot of stuff in it. There was a lot of other videos out that were covering a lot of the same information. And yeah, it was annoying when you got on a video and they literally just read the patch notes off to you. I wasn't going to do that, but some of my favorite things just worth mentioning is the helicopter flares are actually going to work now. Things like you get score in the A10 now. You can get up from prone faster, you can switch to your handgun faster, and the fact that below radar will actually work now against stingers and igla launchers. Before you could land on the ground and people would still lock you up with a stinger and an igla, and it was sort of silly in my opinion. And the other part I really like about this patch is the weapon buffs. And I know a lot of people are really focused on the weapon nerfs. They're like wondering how much is the FAMAS going to get nerfed and how much is the frag rounds use that's going to get nerfed. I'm not necessarily worried about that. I mean, I am concerned about it and I'm curious about it, but that's not what I'm excited about. I'm more excited about the weapon buffs, specifically the AN-94, the M240 Bravo, the M60E4, and the G3A3. Now that the AN-94 isn't getting any more damage, but it is going to have its 2-round burst increased rate of fire on consoles, because we actually never even got that patch on consoles. Our 2-round burst is still coming out at 900 rounds per minute. It's not that accurate, there's a little too much recoil, it's not that good, so that's going to be improved. The M240 Bravo is going to have its damage increased, and coupled with its rate of fire, it's actually going to be able to compete with some assault rifles and carbines now. What? You mean the support kit isn't totally useless as far as gun-on-gun anymore? Well, it might still be, but it's certainly looking better. And the M60E4 is another one. It's getting its recoil reduced, and its damage increased at short range and long range. And don't worry, don't freak out, okay? It's okay that it's a 3-shot kill. It'll still kill slower than the M16, and it'll still have a little more recoil and stuff like that. So don't freak out. I know it has 100 bullets. Don't freak out. We've had enough LMGs not be good in video games these days. Call of Duty. The G3A3 in particular is the gun I'm most looking forward to, just because it's so completely useless and bad right now. It doesn't compete with any other assault rifle under any conditions whatsoever. It kills slower, has more recoil and everything else. It's just silly. So I'm looking forward to that having its recoil reduced and the damage increased. It'll probably be somewhat close to how it was in the beta, which is just fine. I think it was just fine in the beta. I don't know why they lowered it down to 4-shot kills at close range. That was a little bit much. And so that concludes my thoughts on the patches and people crying all the time. And consoles are getting private servers, woot! Yeah, I know, it's about time. I'm sure if you're on PC you're like, whatever, but it's actually a really big deal for us because we can't do game battles or any kind of real competition, anything outside of squad deathmatch. And I've played it, and I'm not gonna say it's horrible for game battles, but it's not all that great. I'd rather play a... If I'm gonna do that, don't kill me. Do not kill me, okay? Don't burn my house down. I would rather play Call of Duty if I'm gonna do 4-on-4 with no vehicles, okay? Don't kill me, okay? I want my house intact tomorrow when I get up, so calm down. But I am excited about the private servers, and I'm actually sort of considering renting one. They might be a little bit much. I might chip in with some friends and buy one together. I don't know. I'll definitely let you guys know in the future if that happens. And that concludes everything except me talking about the gameplay. And as you can probably tell from the gameplay that you've watched thus far, I am not an F2000 guy whatsoever. And I'm not trying to say that this gun isn't good. It is very good. It's sort of like if you want something that kills faster than the M16, but you don't want the recoil of the AEK, and you don't want to be a douchebag and use only the FAMAS and get 35 service stars with it. What? Who does that? I've seen people do that in Team Deathmatch. I'm not even kidding. They have 35 service stars on the FAMAS, and they have less than 2 on everything else. So don't be like that. The F2000 is quite good, and the consoles actually did not get the patch. It was nerfed on PC, but like I said earlier already, we didn't get that patch. So the F2000 is still at its release status on consoles, which is, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's not overpowered or anything like that. It's a fairly good gun. It was just very, very overused, and there is a difference between being overused and overpowered, so I just want everyone to know that. And I know I've touched on different ways of playing the objectives in other videos, not necessarily touched on them, but I've always felt sort of a need to clarify or explain myself as to why I'm not hopping in on the objective to arm it. And I'm going to try to stop doing that, because I'm assuming you either know or believe that I am playing the objective, because hopefully you know me by now, because you've watched some of my videos in the past, and you're not just going to assume that I'm sitting back and trying to kill horror. I am trying to play the objective. I really am. And you'll see that coming into play on this last objective that we have a really hard time getting. And one more thing I want to mention outside of the gameplay. You'll notice there's a guy playing with me, Pete to the Leahy. I've been playing with that guy since Halo 3. I think I've played at least a dozen games with him, probably more than that. He's not the most skilled player, but he is a very nice guy. He hates racism, and he's a team player and he plays to win, which, as we all know, is far more valuable in Battlefield than someone sitting back trying to snipe. And even though he may have a KDR of less than 0.5 some games, he'll actually pop MVP 1, 2, or 3 quite a bit. And if there's ever a Borderlands 2 playthrough in the future, you'll probably see him in it if I have anything to say about it, so prepare yourself. And here I was just going to talk about the things that I thought were important here for a few minutes, and I've run out of time. This game has basically come to a conclusion. We are not going to win. I tried reviving people at the end, but we run out of tickets, and we lose. So yeah, I guess that concludes this gameplay. And your bonus clip, I hope it doesn't make you too sad. It's basically an example. It's essentially, even though I consider myself quite good in the jets sometimes, if you are the focus of the entire enemy team, you're still not going to get it done. And sometimes you just cannot win because your team cannot get in there to help you. So, thank you very much for watching the video. Please do give it a like, and have a nice day.